Hello everybody, Helcrex here, and welcome to another Mercenary Thoughts from the Inner Sphere, episode 371. And today we're going to be talking about the Mars Assault Tank. Yes, it's a 100-ton beast that, well, it's a slow-moving pile of firepower. Yep, it's only a 2-3 moving tank, so yes, this screams 100% garrison tank, but if you got a bunch of these in your garrison area, you don't want to get too close to one of these things because they could strip you apart pretty quickly, especially if you have a decent crew. But it does come at a high cost. It comes in at 2,076 battle value just with the base vehicle. Yeah, that's pretty expensive, pretty spendy when it comes to looking at a vehicle. So you may not have very many of these in your garrison area, but then again, if you're just playing a game where it's like you have something that has to protect the local base, you might have a bunch of these just parked around the area and slowly trundling forward to engage the enemy and then giving them some hurt. Now, the Mars Assault Tank is a 2-3 moving vehicle. It has 12 single heat sinks, which tells you there's an energy weapon someplace on this thing. It has a 11.5 tons, 11.5 tons of ferrofibrous armor for 220 points of armor, which is pretty respectable for a 100-ton vehicle. So it could have more, but that's pretty decent. Then we have a prefla. Well, let's just say on the front slope, we have 50 points of armor. We have 43 on the sides, 37 on the rear, and 47 in the turret. So if this thing by chance gets in a hull down or in a vehicle fighting position where only the turret's exposed, it may take you a while to kill this thing unless you run right up on top of it and shoot down in the hole. But there's that. Weapons. Yes. We have a plethora of weapons. First of all, we have an ER large laser in the turret. Okay. We have a Gauss rifle in the turret. All right. Then we have 2 machine guns in the turret with a half-ton of ammunition, which is more than you ever need. Typically, it's like I usually just go half tons anyway if I'm going to have a machine gun on a mech or a vehicle. Half tons more than enough. You're never running, unless you're running around like, say, what's that one mech? Was it the Paragon? The one clan mech that has like 10 machine guns on it. Then you might consider having a full ton, because then you're going to rip right through that ammo pretty quickly. But overall, you're happy with just a half ton. Then we have on the front slope, we have a LBX 10 with 2 tons of ammunition. So you can go solid or you can go cluster, which is the logical way to go in things. Then we have on the front 3 LRM-15s with Artemis fire control. So if they don't have ECM around, then you're going to have that +2 with your die rolls when you hit to get more damage output, which is nice. It's like I'd rather have Artemis over running around with someone with the NARC system. To me, the NARC is just you're throwing a lot of weight into something in hopes that you are able to tag somebody with the beacon and then shoot. So I'd rather have Artemis on all my systems. That way, if you do hit and they don't have ECM, you are taking care of your own. You don't have to worry about someone else trying to hit something and then get the beacon locked on. And then it's a turn afterwards that you're going to get the benefits of it. And by that, a lot of times I find that sometimes the target is already dead. All right, so then we have a streak 6 on the left side and a streak 6 on the right side with 2 tons of ammunition. So 1 ton for each. That's fine. That's okay. And with a streak system, a ton of ammunition, 15 shots is more than enough to keep you in the battle for a long period of time, because if you don't lock, you don't fire. So you're going to keep that ammo around for a long period of time. And then finally, rounding out the vehicle, you have ECM on board, which is nice, because if you're a garrison vehicle and you got a bunch of these, you kind of work in a bubble together, you are shutting down anybody else's Artemis systems. And if you're running up against, let's say, anyone was a C3 network, you're going to shut that down too. So you can strategically place these vehicles around important spots to keep the ECM bubble going and degrade your enemy, which is nice. Okay. The nice thing about this vehicle, which I do love, is that it's an all-comers kind of garrison vehicle where you have something for everything. It's like if infantry come your way, you got a couple machine guns. If you have some vehicles come in your direction, you can throw, it's like if you got your dead on right side, left side type thing, and then you got the LBX cannon. If they're coming at you with hovercraft and they're on the center line right down the middle, you can hammer them with streaks and the LBX and maybe hit them with a whole bunch of little plinker shots. And then you can basically cut their mobility down, and then you can follow up with the next turn and knock them off so they can't escape, that type of deal. And then obviously if you got mechs coming your direction and at longer ranges as they're coming in, you get the LRMs and you get the Gauss rifle and the LBX and the ER large laser, which really reaches out there. So if they got VTOLs or they got mechs, you got something that can reach out and cause problems. So that's one nice thing, is it can throw everything at you, including the kitchen sink, and do a bunch of damage. It won't do it outside of the garrison because it will take it forever to get there, because it's only a 2-3. Which means if you're taking this out on the battlefield and to train someplace, well, let's see, we're going to be there in 3 days. When will the mechs be there? About 12 hours. Okay. Are you going to take it? No. You're going to leave it back with where the drop ships are and your supplies and all that fun stuff. This is what's going to be sitting back there, probably along with an Oro or something of that nature too. Working in conjunction, just keeping the skies clear. Because that's what this vehicle kind of screams to me, is that if something decides to come around, you're going to find out the hard way that, something is going to be there. Did I mention it has 3 tons of ammunition for the LBL or the LRM-15? So basically a ton of ammo for each of the LRMs. I think I missed that. So that's the one weakness, is that time constraints with what you can throw downrange might be decreased after 8 turns with the LRMs. Just throwing that out there. But if you're working in conjunction with other vehicles and maybe a few mechs, that's a pretty strong ability to throw some damage out there and make whoever's coming your direction think twice about what they're going to do that day. Now, that doesn't mean that the vehicle won't get just blasted off the face of the earth, because it's not, the odds of it having a movement modifier, unless it's trundling forward in a direct line, it might get a 1 mod. So yeah, don't count on you having any modifications. So a lot of times the vehicle's probably better off just like either lining up the shot for the perfect shot, like getting the front towards the enemy, or kind of moving into a position that makes it best for them. But they're not going to do it very fast. Not at all. So that's the one thing about it. So you're not going to see it on the battlefield outside of a garrison area. But if you're attacking someone's garrison area, you might find this sitting waiting for you. Which, I'm thinking I might have to print a few of these things just to have it for upcoming campaigns that we may be doing. I may have to talk with my brother about this. He listens to the videos, so he might say, "Yeah, print some of those." Now, there's a few other versions of this vehicle waiting on the battlefield for you to play with. Let's just see here. We have an ATM version. Oh, one thing that I may consider changing on this vehicle is I might consider dropping the ER large laser for a couple ER medium lasers, taking that tonnage and possibly giving this thing a little more armor and or ammunition for those LRMs. That'd be something I would look at possibly doing. And maybe even swapping out the machine guns for AP Gauss rifles. Yeah, something like that. Giving you a little more reach out and touch something with the anti-personnel capabilities. All because you put an energy weapon on board a vehicle. Yes, I'd still like the ER mediums just to take advantage of the heat sinks you have, but I don't like going past that because it seems like you're wasting tonnage. All right, let's get on with here. We got the ATM. This variant keeps the Gauss rifles and the machine guns, removes the rest of the weaponry. The LRMs are replaced with 3 ATM-9s, 9 tons of ammunition. Okay. And the ER laser is swapped out for a heavy large laser that is more damaging, expense of accuracy. Yeah. And then you have the streak launchers are downgraded to streak 4s. This comes in at 1,948 battle value, so 19.5 roughly. The ATM-9s are nice. Okay, so you got some long range, and then with 9 tons of ammunition, I'd probably go 3 tons or 3, 3, and 3, or maybe 4, 2, and 3, or something of that nature. I like the idea of the ATM-9s. It gives you a little more versatility, but you know, to have, if you got rid of, I've always liked the idea of being able to smash a bunch of damage with the short range stuff if they come in close. And then, obviously you got the extended range missiles to go with that. So there is that. There's something nice about having the ability to really reach out and touch something. But the damage output is greatly decreased compared to the LRM-15s. But you're also taking advantage of when they're getting to short range and you're throwing into different type of weapon systems. As they're moving closer, you can swap what type of ammo. And in this case, with ATM-9s, I'd probably, with 9 tons of ammunition, I'd still have some long range, maybe a ton or 2 of the shorter range, mid-range stuff, and then short range. You know, how you want to run it, it's up to you, but that's kind of how I envision that. The Gauss rifle's nice. You're going to be punching holes into something. There's nothing to be sneezed at when something hits you for 15, out to 22. That's a good thing to have. To work in conjunction with the ATM-9s. So, and then you got the couple streak 4s for a little bit of plinky damage if something gets in too close. And then that heavy laser, probably on the front slope, or it may be still in the turret. Probably still in the turret. You know, as they get in close, that's going to be a lot of damage up close and personal. So there is that. Basically, it's a little bit better than, slightly better in one ways to the, like an AC-20, but you know, you have the detriment of having that +1 to hit problem, unless you have a targeting computer offset that. So there's that. But that'd be pretty expensive to throw a targeting computer on board with all the tonnage wrapped up into something of that nature. Now, then the next version you have is the HAG version. All right, so this one, this says it comes out in the Jihad. So we got the Hyper Gauss rifle technology, the HAG. This one retains an XL engine, but still slow. So they're taking all the tonnage savings you get with the 200 XL engine and throwing it into a HAG 30. Okay. It dropped the 2 Streak 6s and the Hag 20 has 12 rounds of ammunition. So, or the Hag 30 has 12 rounds. So, that's a lot of tonnage wrapped up into something that, you know, only shoots 12. But it still has the Gauss rifle and the ER large. So you do have some good range going out there and touching somebody. So you're looking at 20, 25, 24, 22. So you do have some good ranges with those weapon systems. So if somebody decides to come in close, you're still going to be hammering them for a long period of time. Then the machine guns have been replaced by a pair of AP Gauss rifles, which I said before. It's like I'd rather have AP Gauss rifles instead of just regular machine guns. It makes total sense to me, because once those things come available, you can shoot out longer ranges and touch the infantry outside their typical engagement range. So you can hose them out a little bit easier. It comes with 40 rounds of ammunition. And does still have the ECM. This comes in at 2,500 and basically 50 battle value. So a little more expensive than the original. But you do have a Hag 30, which is going to be smashing you in the face at longer ranges. So you're roughly giving up one LRM-15 for a Hag system. So the damage output is a little less. All right. On this version, so it's one or the other. And I think in some ways having 3 LRM-15s, the damage output may still be better, because you got one roll with the Hag 30 versus 3 rolls with the LRM-15s. So the odds of hitting are probably greater with the 15s versus the Hags. You got 1 die roll versus 3. Yeah. The law of averages say one of those is going to hit versus, you know, the other one. All right. Then we have the XL version. This was Clan Hell Horses. This one, they put an XL engine on it and upgraded the speed, so it's now a 3.5. Removes the machine guns and a half-ton of armor to allow it to increase its speed slightly. This comes in at 2,500 battle value. So a little more expensive, a little more speedier, and now you got something that can possibly go out on the regular battlefield and engage targets and move along, because it's going the same speed as, you know, like a Daiashi or something of that nature. The slower moving assault mechs. So now you have something that can work in conjunction with the slow moving mechs and other 3.5 moving tanks or vehicles of that nature. So there is that, which actually makes it a little more versatile. I'm not overly happy that they got rid of the machine guns. You know, maybe, you know, you could have downgraded the 2 SRM-6 streaks to SRM-4s, kept the machine guns, or replace them with some AP Gauss rifles instead. Go that route. That might have been something to think about when you throw it out there. But, you know, I kind of like having something to take care of infantry if they decide to get too close. You know, having machine guns is one great way of letting the infantry know that, hey, come closer, you're going to find out what it means to have yourself get hosed. So there is that. But yeah, I find that one's a little more spendy, but it can be useful, especially the Hell Horses, which do go more vehicle orientation with their TUNE. So yeah, I can see that coming out on the regular battlefield, working in conjunction with mechs and other vehicles instead of being a garrison vehicle. So the other ones that you'll find, the other 3 will be a garrison vehicle. Now the XL version, I can see becoming a actual line combat support vehicle. And if you got something that's throwing out a Gauss rifle round, it has an ER large laser and an LBX-10 banging away out to distance, yeah, you're not going to be overly happy with that. You know, sitting back there and blasting you. And order of operations would be, it's like, do you want to fire, which vehicle do you want to fire first, or mech, so who's going to scrape off the most armor? Typically, you know, something like this would really do a good job of scraping armor off something, and then followed up with those with the plinker damage that, you know, in this case, it does have an LBX, so it could be the plinker, so one half dozen of the other, how you want to roll that into the grand scheme of things for damage output. But yeah, this thing could do the job pretty decently. So that is it. Let's see, I did talk about what I would do. Let's see. Okay, this was something that was rounded up before. We did, like I said, we did get rid of the ER large laser and replaced it with in the LBX with 2 Gauss rifles. And so now you had 2 Gauss rifles in the turret, 2 ER medium lasers in the turret, and then you had the 3 LRM-15s with 4 tons of ammunition, and then you had the 2 streaks, and then the machine guns. So yeah, that'd be something that you might consider throwing out on the battlefield. You know, having a couple Gauss rifles reaching out and touching somebody, and followed up with the LRM-15s. Yeah, and then if they get too close, then you can throw in the ER medium lasers and then the streaks. You know, that would be kind of a nasty one for hole punching, especially if it's a garrison vehicle. So there's something to think about. But overall, not bad. I would consider having a few of these in your lineup just for garrison duty, or if you got the XL version, throwing it up on the line. So you actually have something that's a 3.5 that can get there. All right, so that's it. Hope you guys like it. Like and subscribe, share with friends, and we'll see you in the next one. Elcrex out.